Hi, I'm Daniel Bowe, and today we're going to talk about Technique 28 from Teach Like a Champion 2.0, Brighten Lines. It's from the pacing section. Brighten Lines is one of the techniques you must implement in order to have a crisp, well-paced, and controlled class. When you take steps to make the beginnings and endings of your lesson activities more visible and crisp, you brighten lines. By calling attention to shifts in activities or formats, you ensure that your students can perceive mileposts clearly and make it hard for them not to notice that something new is occurring. There are three key ideas implicit in Brighten lines: a clean start, a clean finish, and interactive lines. The skills implicit in pacing can be broken into two groups. The first involves varying the types of activities your students engage in during a lesson, the goal being to cause dynamic changes in student thinking and participation. The second set of skills involves managing activities and the transitions between them to ensure crisp, decisive, and noticeable shifts, or the illusion of speed. Many of the tools for managing the illusion of speed deal in perception. For example, by maximizing mileposts and making beginnings and endings visible and energetic so that students are more aware of the changes around them. Generally, speed is exciting and change is interesting. As a student, it's engaging to feel as though you're moving, to see evidence of rapid progress, and to think that something new is just about to happen. Students feel as though they are moving when they see mileposts passing. Perhaps that's why Team Academy's Ryan Hill advises nothing for more than 10 minutes. Frequently changing activities creates more mileposts and the perception of speed. The first way to brighten lines is with the clean start, shifting from one activity to another on a cue. Starting everyone at the same time with a statement such as, "Okay, scholars, you have 3 minutes to write a response to this question. Ready? Go," has several advantages. First, making the beginning of an activity pop makes the activity itself feel a bit like a special event. It suggests that, as with a foot race, you are not allowed to start until the teacher tells you to. Otherwise, you might be tempted to race ahead and sneak in some extra writing. Not only does this implicitly frame the forthcoming activity positively, but it also causes everyone in the class to start exactly on cue. That half-second delay causes students to work more industriously once they are allowed to. Plus, students see all of their peers snap to it, normalizing the idea of snapping to it, and making productive use of time. In addition, you build a strong disincentive against malingering, gazing around the classroom and then gradually getting out a pencil and paper. If it's unclear whether everyone else has actually started something, there's an incentive to take your time so as to avoid being the outlier, the first to start, or to make the optimum decision from a social standpoint, experimenting with answers to the age-old question, what rate and degree of action will communicate maximum status to the cute girls, boys sitting next to me? If everyone begins on cue, there are no grounds for strategically managing the optimum starting point. Everyone else just started. Better catch up. Being able to end an activity reliably on cue is also a critical skill for several reasons, the most obvious being time management. How many meetings have you been in where the person running it was unable to say, "Okay, we're done with that. Now we're moving on to this," as it became increasingly obvious that the meeting would run over time or that other topics would be truncated. Time use in the classroom can be done at a similar disservice when a teacher can't reliably bring students back to attention. There's more value in making activities that end crisply and clearly, a skill I call clean finish, than just time management. Ending on cue establishes a clear and discernible transition point from one activity to the next. When the transition is obvious, students are more likely to make sure they join in with the change right on time. Ensuring that all students switch activities on cue is especially important if the next activity draws on the preceding one. Doubly so if it draws on it in a public way. Consider the example in the previous paragraph. You've said to your students, you have 3 minutes to reflect in writing. Who is the hero, and how do you know? If you're going to transition from writing to discussion or guided questioning, you don't want to allow a third of the students to continue writing or to pretend that they're still writing so they don't have to listen to their peers or risk being called on. You want the writing to end on cue in a single moment so that you can immediately start looking forward to your next step. As the 3 allocated minutes of writing come to a close, you might provide a preliminary reminder that you will be enforcing a hard stop, something like, I need pencils down in 20 seconds. Try to finish that last thought. When you get to the end of the allocated time, ideally there'd be a signal. The timer would go off, and you'd say, I hear the timer, and that means pencils down, eyes up, please. Or perhaps you'd have established that 3 hand claps is a call to attention and means the end of writing and peer discussion and to come to order. Whatever the signal, every student can see every other student transitioning right on cue, making it far less plausible to continue doing something else under the guise of lack of clarity. Another reason for a clean finish is speed. If your transition from writing to discussion is fast, a few seconds at most, then the ideas that students had before the transition are more likely to cross over into the second activity. What students wrote will show up in the discussion if it begins without any stray discussion about how the time for writing is over or reminders about the importance of joining the group because education is a collective endeavor. The icing on the cake is that sharp, visible transitions also affect pacing. The milepost is bright and clear, and students can see it passing. When passing mileposts is an interactive experience, those mileposts are more engaging and noticeable. On the Uncommon Schools Teach Like a Champion team, they call that interactive lines. Anna O'Neill uses these in her math lessons. Prepping students to start their time practice, she counts ready, set, and the students respond go, thus participating in marking the line between activities. At the end of an activity, John King of Brooklyn often counts down 3, 2, 1, to which the students respond, done, and again marking the line between activities more clearly through their participation. We've also seen teachers create energy by counting down the last 3 seconds of an activity, 3, 2, 1, and whereupon students slap their pencil on their desk and raise their hands. It's fascinating to note how teachers often engineer these interactive aspects of class to tacitly suggest positive, productive activities. Joining in the fun of slapping your pencil down at the end of a bout of writing, for example, requires you to have your pencil in your hand and thus an incentive to write all the way to the end instead of putting your pencil down with 30 seconds to go. Letting students slap their desk and raise their hands is fun and tactile, and results in students with their hands in the air and ready to be called on, some of whom might not otherwise have raised their hand. A final note to observe here. The same tools used to speed up pacing can slow things down as well. For example, you might say to your class, quietly and with a slow and reflective tempo, in 30 seconds, your journal writing session will come to an end. At the beep, please close your journals and give me your eyes. Then you might let the timer beep for a few seconds or leave a silent pause of a few seconds and add, good, now we're ready to discuss. It's still a clean finish with interactive lines, but it establishes a slower pace and a quieter tone. In fact, you could argue that Brighten Lines is most useful for this kind of slower, more thoughtful task, where stepping in to be more directive is also more disruptive to the quiet, reflective mood of the room. Crisp transitions are often more useful at exactly the time you would least expect them to be, and where their use is least intuitive. After this presentation is over, make sure you stick around for the montage of crisp starts and finishes in clip 24. Thank you for watching this presentation on Technique 28.
Hand on the corner. I'm going to say ready, set, you say go. 2 minutes only, 2 seconds per problem. Your goal is to finish. Ready, set, go!
All right, excellent. Let's go ahead and get our metronome in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Ready. Set. Fast.
So really picture yourself, Brandon, I can already see it on your face, you are there. Really picture yourself on a roller coaster. Think of actions that you would do that could help someone visualize that you're riding a roller coaster. So for example, one would be that you throw your hands up in the air because we all just did that. I'm going to be coming around and highlighting ones that I want to be shown out, so make sure they are juicy. Pencils up. With your partner, go to work. Voices down.
Are you ready? Yes. All right, let's see. Your fraction challenge question. Oh. First one is 2 5/5 plus 3/8. Good work.
There it is, Prepsters, and there it goes. Looking for 100% Monet's there. So is Jonathan and Jedzi. I have it here. I have it over here. And I just need one slant. Beautiful. One loud hand. 3, 2, 1.
6. Your pencils need to be down by the time I get to 1, and your hands need to be in the air. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down, hands up. What is the plan?
Excellent. Okay, so you know that you have been brought here today to be part of a special project. I haven't seen you guys for a while, and I have missed you. 3, 2, 1.
None.
Done. So for teacher's turn, we'll review a little bit of our ED endings. How many sounds can the ED ending make, Janai?
All right, here we go. Pencils down. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, Williams.
Good morning, Supervisor.
Rock, paper, scissors, number 1. Everybody on 2, 1, 2.